Hello, this is Maggie, the Cheshire Crafter here. Now, as you can see, I'm in the middle of a project and I hope to finish this in the next few days and get it uploaded on YouTube. This is the jelly roll blanket. But I've been in conversation with my best friend on the phone and I'm just going to talk to you today about crafting and sewing with gratitude. Now, I've told you that this Singer sewing machine was my mum's. And although it's meant to do all sorts of zigzag stitches, I don't really use it for that. I just go forward and back. And I'm not using a pattern, and I'm making it up as I go along, and I'm just writing it down on a piece of paper. So it's very hodgepodge. But even though it's hodgepodge, I'm making it with a great deal of gratitude. And the first thing is, I'm grateful for my mum for giving me her machine. Because although I might be able to go out and buy a newfangled one, I'm actually really enjoying the thought of using her machine to make these items. And although my muscles might be pulling and my back might be killing and I have to stop, I'm grateful that my muscles work at all. And I'm grateful that I can take painkillers and sit and recover and then do a little bit more. I'm grateful that although I fell and broke my shoulder, that I'm able to do what I can. And I'm able to achieve these things now. And I'm grateful for the help that I had in recovery. And that included using a tin to add some weight for the physio that I had to do. I had to do my physio through Zoom calls. They weren't face-to-face appointments. So we did the best we could. Well, I'm very grateful that I've got a kitchen that's got tins in the cupboard. I'm certainly not starving. So I had tins the size that I could get my hand around to take my shoulder up, and I couldn't do it initially, but I gradually built up the strength. And when I could do that, I bought dumbbells. And I can't get my shoulder and my arm into the position that I could before I fell and broke my shoulder. But I'm grateful that I can do what I can with it now. And I've been watching the quilters. One of the quilters I watch is Jordan's Fabrics. I think she's Donna Jordan. I think she's the American crafter. And I watch what she does. And I've said that I have difficulty cutting with these cutting blades, and my left hand, with the muscle strength, I'm not holding the easy rule in place. Well, I've been able to afford to buy an easy rule and a cutting blade rather than just using a knife and a ruler and a pair of scissors. But she uses a dumbbell to hold things in place, and I might use that dumbbell. So the fact I broke my shoulder and have the dumbbell, I didn't buy the dumbbell to do exercises. With this body, it's not a body that exercises with dumbbells, does it? I did it to get my shoulder better. But I did it because I wanted to be able to do things in the future. I didn't want to lose my ability. Well, likewise, I learnt from my family, especially my mum and my aunt. They were very wise women. Now, when I was young, I learnt to sew at school. We actually had a form teacher that was a domestic science teacher, and she taught us the basics of sewing. But I learnt most from my mum and using her mum's Singer vintage handmade sewing machine. And I loved that sewing machine. I used to sit in the lounge making things to go out with. I used to make a lot of my clothes when I was young, and it gave me a lot of confidence, to the point that I had the confidence to make my own wedding dress. When I say make, I mean sew. And I had a Jones sewing machine at that point. And I also made the bridesmaid's dress of the friend that I've been talking to today. She was one of my bridesmaids. The other bridesmaid's mother made her dress, and she was a professional seamstress, so she knew what she was doing. I'm an amateur doing these things. But all the time that I've been working on sewing these things, I've been sewing these things with the gratitude that I can have an idea in my head and turn a piece of flat fabric into something that's going to become 3D, and it's going to be useful, and I can give it as a gift, and it's going to be, well, it's going to be used, basically. So I'm grateful that I've got the ability for my brain to work. I haven't had a stroke, fortunately. I haven't lost the use of one side of my body. It's not as brilliant as I'd like it to be, but they do still work of a fashion, enough for me to do this. And I'm delighted that I can do this. I really am. So I am creating with gratitude, and that attitude of gratitude goes into everything that I'm doing. Far better than that, than have an attitude of resentment. I can't do, I can't quite do, I can't afford this, I can't afford that. Use what you can. Now, my mum and her sister, during the war, they grew up in Liverpool. And there's a photograph of them. I think my cousin has it. There's a photograph of the two of them in their very early 20s. I think my mum might have been, say, 25 and her sister 20. And they're walking the streets of Liverpool, and there is admiration and glances looking back from people that they've walked past, because they looked fantastic. And they were wearing coats that they'd made, and my mum had designed them out of blankets. She'd actually made coats that they wore in the streets and got admiring glances from blankets when the rations were on. Well, bravo. They could do it, and they had that make, do and mend attitude. So I'm trying to make something from not much. I'm trying to make something from half a jelly roll here, but I did go out and buy this extra fabric. I have had this cotton for quite some time, and I'm surprised that it's still strong, but it is. I've got enough around me to do what I'm wanting to do. I might be buying off eBay when I need another yard of something to do binding, but I have enough, and I have enough money to manage on, and I'm very grateful as a pensioner for that as well. It might be that I saved during my lifetime to be able to do these things, but I'm very grateful that I've got a roof over my head. I can afford the electricity. I'm boiling hot at the moment. It's 32 degrees. I'm really not worried about, at the moment, not today, I'm not worried today about the utility bills in the winter. There's time enough for me to worry about that then. So I just thought I wanted to put on record how grateful I am, and having an attitude of gratitude and putting that into the work that you do, it's going to show. And when I say I'm making things with love, with thoughts of the people that I'm making them for while I'm doing them, that's true, I am. But I'm also very grateful to be here in the circumstances that I'm in, to get to the age where I'm a pensioner and I'm able to do these things. And sometimes that takes a generation or 2 generations in my case, because these gifts came to me from my mum's mum. And I'm glad that she taught my mum to sew and knit. My mum didn't crochet, but she certainly sewed and knitted. And I'm glad that my mum's passed all those skills on to me. I'm not frightened when I do my paper crafting. I'm not frightened of making a mistake. It's just a piece of paper. I'm not frightened of making a mistake with a piece of fabric. It's just a piece of fabric. It's not brain surgery. It's not a life and death situation. I've been in many of those where what I do, when I worked as a nurse and midwife, what I did mattered. And it might have been a life and death situation. This isn't. This is a hobby. This is doing something that is pleasurable and enjoyable. And I'm going to continue now with this attitude, and I'm going to finish this. It is hot, so I'm going to do the best I can to try and finish this and get it on YouTube this weekend. And I'm very grateful that on Monday I'm going to meet up with my old friend. We've been friends since I was 11. And that's something that we're going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate becoming pensioners together. Her husband's going to be with her, and we're all going to celebrate together. So I just thought I'd document this in a YouTube video. And I'm very grateful for YouTube for allowing me the opportunity to do that. And for the phone company and the people that have developed these technologies that I don't understand how my phone works. I just need to know how to press the right buttons. So as you go on with your crafting, put that attitude of gratitude into everything that you craft and sew with. And I hope that you enjoy it, and I hope that your crafting will give you pleasure and give other people pleasure for many years to come. We don't know how many generations are going to survive us. So for now, from a very hot Cheshire crafter, I'm going to say bye for now. Come back and see me soon when I finish this. Bye then.